Every day the world wakes up divided, the 99% who drift through the morning on autopilot, and the 1% who rise with purpose, clarity, and control. Most people open their eyes and immediately surrender to chaos. They reach for their phones, scroll through noise, and let the world dictate their mindset before the sun has even touched their face. But the 1%, they begin their day differently. They don't wake up reacting, they wake up commanding. They understand that the first hour of the morning is not just a routine, it is a battlefield for the mind, and whoever wins that hour wins the day. The 1% don't wake up by accident. They wake up with intention. Before they even step out of bed, they take control of their thoughts. They do not allow anxiety, distraction, or negativity to enter their mind first. They start with silence, with awareness, with gratitude. They breathe deeply and remind themselves that they are in charge of what happens next. The secret is not about waking up early, it's about waking up consciously. You can rise at 5 a.m. and still be lost, or you can rise at 8 a.m. and still conquer the day. If your mind is disciplined, if your spirit is aligned, if your focus is unshakable. The morning is a sacred space that most people waste. It's the one time when the world is quiet, when you can hear your own thoughts, when you can reconnect with your purpose before everyone else starts pulling at your attention. The 1% guard this time like it's treasure. They know that how they begin the day shapes how they respond to everything that follows. They use the morning to train their mind before the world has a chance to shape it. They sit in stillness, they move their body, they write down their goals, they visualize their path. They prepare their emotions the way a warrior sharpens a blade, with patience, focus, and precision. Control does not begin when things go wrong, it begins before anything happens. Most people wait until the day tests them to find strength. The 1% build that strength in advance. They create calm before chaos. They build clarity before confusion. Their mornings are not filled with noise, but with intention. They don't let the outside world decide how they feel. They create their own state of mind. And because of that, they are not easily shaken. While others complain that the day is heavy, they move through it with balance because they have already anchored themselves in control. When you wake up and immediately surrender to distraction, to your phone, to the news, to your worries, you are giving away your power before you've even stood up. But when you wake up and give your first energy to stillness, to focus, to gratitude, you send a message to your entire being. I am in charge. That's what total control looks like, not dominance over others, but mastery over yourself. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware. The morning gives you that opportunity every single day, but you must take it. Your morning habits are not just small routines. They are declarations of identity. The way you wake up is the way you live. If you begin with chaos, your day becomes chaotic. If you begin with clarity, your day becomes powerful. The 1% understand this truth. The day doesn't decide who you are, your morning does. You don't need a complicated ritual, you just need consistency. You need to rise with awareness, move with discipline, and start with gratitude. The moment you control your morning, the first hour after you wake up is the foundation of everything that follows. It sets the rhythm of your thoughts, the tone of your emotions, and the direction of your actions. When you control that first hour, you claim ownership of your entire day. Most people wake up and instantly hand over that control to their phones, to their stress, to their distractions. The first thing they see dictates how they feel. The first thought they allow becomes the mood they carry. But those who understand the power of the morning know that the first hour is sacred. It's a quiet battlefield where either your discipline wins or your habits take over. Those who master it are not superhuman. They are simply intentional. They know that how you start determines how you finish. The first hour is where your mind wakes up before the world gets to you. It's the moment when your energy is pure, unpolluted by noise, messages, or obligations. If you allow that space to be filled with negativity, the rest of your day follows that vibration. But when you fill it with focus, gratitude, and stillness, you set the tone for strength, peace, and productivity. Control in the morning is not about being strict, it's about being aware. It's choosing to begin the day with purpose rather than letting life pull you wherever it wants. The 1% understand this. They treat the morning like an investment. What they put into it determines what they get out of the day. In that first hour, what you do matters less than how you do it. Whether it's meditation, movement, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, the goal is to anchor your mind before the world tests it. When you begin the day by focusing inward, you become less reactive to what happens outward. You stop chasing control during the chaos because you already built it before the chaos began. That is why the 1% appear calm under pressure. They don't wait until the storm hits to steady themselves. They start every day by strengthening their inner foundation. The morning becomes their training ground, where they remind themselves who they are and what they are capable of before the noise of life tries to make them forget. Control of the first hour doesn't mean rushing or cramming activities into your morning. It means creating stillness, space, and alignment. It means moving with intention, breathing with awareness, and starting your day on your own terms. The first hour should not belong to your notifications, your worries, or your deadlines. It should belong entirely to you. When you rise with focus, you become deliberate with your energy. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop surviving the day and start leading it. The first hour is where leaders are built, where clarity is born, and where the mind learns to obey direction instead of distraction. When you master it, the day no longer controls you. Most people wake up already defeated because the very first thing they do is surrender their attention. Before their feet even touch the ground, their mind is consumed by other people's noise, notifications, emails, messages, and endless scrolling. The world steals their focus before they even realize it. They begin their day reacting, not creating. But those who truly understand power know that mornings are not meant to be consumed by distraction. They are meant to be directed by intention. The way you wake up determines whether you own the day or the day owns you. When you open your eyes, your first thoughts are sacred. They decide the emotional frequency that will carry you through every hour that follows. If you fill that space with noise, you drown your awareness. But if you fill it with silence, gratitude, and clarity, you awaken with strength. Waking up with intention is an act of control. It's choosing to meet the day consciously instead of drifting into it unconsciously. It's realizing that you are not obligated to respond to the world the moment you rise. The 1% understand that discipline begins not with what you do, but with what you choose not to do. They don't let their first energy feed chaos. They start their mornings grounded in awareness. They breathe before they speak, reflect before they move, and think before they act. In that stillness, they find clarity. In that clarity, they find direction. And in that direction, they find control. The average person wakes up and asks, "What do I have to do today?" But the disciplined mind wakes up and says, "Who will I be today?" That one shift changes everything. When you wake with intention, you separate yourself from the reactive rhythm that controls most lives. You stop letting notifications shape your emotions or headlines dictate your mindset. You no longer begin the day in comparison or anxiety. You begin it in mastery. Each morning becomes a sacred ritual, not rushed, but deliberate, not scattered, but centered. The silence of the early hours becomes your teacher, your guide, your mirror. It shows you what you've been avoiding, what you truly value, and where your attention naturally drifts. Through awareness, you begin to understand that every morning offers a new beginning, a new chance to rewrite your mental state, to reclaim your energy, to remember your purpose. The few who wake with awareness hold a different presence throughout the day. Their minds are sharper, their emotions calmer, their focus unshakable. They are not carried by the current of distractions because they have already anchored themselves before the storm arrived. They carry stillness into chaos, focus into noise, and clarity into confusion. They don't chase peace during the day because they built it in the morning. Intention transforms the ordinary act of waking up into a spiritual practice of command. It is in that first conscious breath before the world intrudes that your true power. Every day brings its challenges, its unexpected turns, and its silent tests. Most people wait for those moments to appear before they attempt to find balance, before they try to calm their mind or control their emotions. But those who live with mastery know that preparation begins long before the challenge arrives. They understand that the morning is their battlefield of preparation, a sacred space where they sharpen their inner sword before stepping into the noise of the world. When you prepare your mind in the early hours, you are not escaping life, you are equipping yourself to face it. You are not hiding from chaos, you are building strength so that when chaos comes, it no longer shakes you. The morning is when you build mental armor. It's when you train your focus, your awareness, and your emotional resilience. The strong don't wait for clarity to appear during the day, they create it through deliberate morning rituals. It could be meditation, breath work, journaling, movement, or even silence. The form doesn't matter. What matters is that you claim that time for yourself. In that space, you quiet the endless noise of your mind and listen to the still voice within. That voice is your compass, your guidance, your strength. When you connect to it, your mind becomes your ally, not your enemy. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding consciously. You stop letting the outer world dictate your inner world because you have already anchored your energy before the day even begins. Training the mind in the morning is no different from training the body. Consistency builds endurance. The more you do it, the stronger you become. The 1% don't treat their mornings as optional, they treat them as sacred. They understand that discipline is built in the hours when no one is watching. They don't wait for motivation, they rely on structure. They know that control is not something you find by accident, it's something you earn through daily repetition. Every morning spent in awareness is a silent victory, not over others, but over the part of you that seeks comfort, distraction, and ease. The morning is where you confront that part, where you remind it who is in command. When you prepare your mind before the world tests it, life begins to flow differently. The same challenges that used to frustrate you now become opportunities to apply your training. The same chaos that once broke your focus now becomes your practice ground for calmness. You start to realize that strength is not about avoiding difficulty, but about carrying peace through it. You carry that morning stillness with you wherever you go, into your work, your conversations, your struggles. It becomes your quiet power, invisible yet undeniable. You no longer crumble when the world gets loud because your peace was not built on external silence. It was built in the stillness you created for yourself before the day began. The body is the gateway to the mind, and movement is the key that unlocks your inner power. When you wake up and move, you send a signal to every part of your being that it is time to rise, to awaken, to take command of the day. Most people underestimate how deeply physical energy shapes mental clarity. They drag themselves out of bed, exhausted, unfocused, already drained before the day even begins. But those who understand control know that energy is not something you wait for. It is something you create. Movement is how you generate that energy. It doesn't have to be intense or complicated. It just has to be intentional. The moment you stretch your body, breathe deeply, or take a few steps in awareness, you begin to wake up parts of yourself that sleep through most of life. The 1% understand that motion creates momentum. They know that by moving their body, they awaken their mind. Physical movement shakes off the heaviness of yesterday, clears mental fog, and opens space for clarity. Every drop of sweat is not just effort, it's renewal. It's the body reminding the mind of its strength. It's a ritual that says, I am alive and I am in control. Even a few moments of mindful movement can shift your entire state. It reconnects you to your breath, aligns your thoughts, and resets your emotions. Through movement, you release what no longer serves you, the tension, the fatigue, the mental clutter. You step into a new energy, a sharper focus, a more grounded presence. When the body is neglected, the mind becomes dull. When the body is active, the mind becomes alert. This is why those who rise early and move with intention walk differently through life. Their steps are firm, their posture tall, their presence commanding. They don't stumble into the day half awake, they rise with vitality. Movement fuels their confidence because it builds a physical connection to strength. Each repetition, each breath, each stretch is a reminder that discipline lives within them. The stronger the body becomes, the calmer the mind grows. The more consistent the movement, the steadier the emotions become. Physical training becomes mental training because the habits of the body shape the habits of the mind. Even on the days when motivation is low, the 1% move anyway. They understand that discipline is born in motion, not in thought. They don't wait to feel ready. They act, and readiness follows. They know that stillness of mind comes after the movement of the body. As they move, they awaken not only muscle but focus, determination, and resilience. Movement becomes meditation, a dialogue between body and mind where each learns to listen, to adapt, to align. When you move with purpose at the start of the day, you claim your power physically before the world demands it mentally. That act of motion becomes a declaration that you are present, you are strong, and you are in command of your morning is the most sacred time you are given, and yet it is the one most people carelessly give away. The first hours of the day hold a unique stillness, a quiet energy untouched by the noise of the world. It is the time when your mind is most open, when your focus is sharpest, and when your potential is pure. But if you let distractions flood in, that sacred energy disappears before you even realize it. Those who live with discipline know that mornings are not meant to be shared with chaos. They are meant to be guarded, protected, and reserved for what truly matters. They understand that how you spend those first moments determines the quality of everything that follows. The 1% don't treat their mornings as disposable. They treat them as sacred ground, the place where they build the mental and emotional foundation for their day. Guarding your morning means saying no to everything that drains your energy before it can even grow. It means refusing to open your phone, your inbox, or your social media until you have connected with yourself first. It means replacing noise with silence, reaction with reflection, and distraction with direction. The world will always try to demand your attention, notifications, messages, responsibilities. But you must decide that your peace is more valuable. Those who give away their mornings also give away their focus, their creativity, and their sense of control. But those who guard their mornings keep their power intact. They choose what deserves their attention, and in doing so, they lead the day rather than being led by it. When you protect your morning, you protect your mind. You give yourself the time to think, to breathe, to remember your purpose before the noise of the world tries to make you forget it. You are not selfish for keeping your mornings private, you are wise. It's in that solitude that your clarity sharpens. It's in that stillness that your goals align. You learn to move deliberately, not reactively. You start to notice how much calmer, more focused, and more centered you feel when your morning is spent on what nourishes you instead of what drains you. The 1% don't begin their days in the company of distractions, they begin them in the company of purpose. Guarding your morning requires discipline, but it rewards you with freedom. When you no longer start the day tangled in other people's noise, you find space to hear your own thoughts again. You find energy where there used to be exhaustion, focus where there used to be confusion. You realize that every moment of peace you protect in the morning multiplies throughout the day. The stronger your boundaries become, the stronger your focus grows. You start to walk through life less reactive, more deliberate, more alive. Guarding your morning is not about escaping the world. It's about preparing yourself to move through it with clarity, intention, and unshakable. Your morning is the most sacred time you are given, and yet it is the one most people carelessly give away. The first hours of the day hold a unique stillness, a quiet energy untouched by the noise of the world. It is the time when your mind is most open, when your focus is sharpest, and when your potential is pure. But if you let distractions flood in, that sacred energy disappears before you even realize it. Those who live with discipline know that mornings are not meant to be shared with chaos. They are meant to be guarded, protected, and reserved for what truly matters. They understand that how you spend those first moments determines the quality of everything that follows. The 1% don't treat their mornings as disposable. They treat them as sacred ground, the place where they build the mental and emotional foundation for their day. Guarding your morning means saying no to everything that drains your energy before it can even grow. It means refusing to open your phone, your inbox, or your social media until you have connected with yourself first. It means replacing noise with silence, reaction with reflection, and distraction with direction. The world will always try to demand your attention, notifications, messages, responsibilities. But you must decide that your peace is more valuable. Those who give away their mornings also give away their focus, their creativity, and their sense of control. But those who guard their mornings keep their power intact. They choose what deserves their attention, and in doing so, they lead the day rather than being led by it. When you protect your morning, you protect your mind. You give yourself the time to think, to breathe, to remember your purpose before the noise of the world tries to make you forget it. You are not selfish for keeping your mornings private, you are wise. It's in that solitude that your clarity sharpens. It's in that stillness that your goals align. You learn to move deliberately, not reactively. You start to notice how much calmer, more focused, and more centered you feel when your morning is spent on what nourishes you instead of what drains you. The 1% don't begin their days in the company of distractions, they begin them in the company of purpose. Guarding your morning requires discipline, but it rewards you with freedom. When you no longer start the day tangled in other people's noise, you find space to hear your own thoughts again. You find energy where there used to be exhaustion, focus where there used to be confusion. You realize that every moment of peace you protect in the morning multiplies throughout the day. The stronger your boundaries become, the stronger your focus grows. You start to walk through life less reactive, more deliberate, more alive. Guarding your morning is not about escaping the world. It's about preparing yourself to move through it with clarity, intention, and unshakable